Welcome back, guys, to Phoenix Wright's Dual Destinies, as an insanity plea has rung out from the other three people on stage at this point in time for Phoenix Wright, as he has decided that, of course, the killer escaped from the launch pads via jumping out or exiting the moving launch pad itself from the outside. Do you know how possible that would be? That corridor's level the third floor, is why everyone thinks that he's just insane, but soon we will dispel your doubt, Apollo. Even if the culprit tried to leap to the outside wall of the Space Center building, they would fall to their death.
Objection!
Ordinarily, yes. But after the bombing incident, the culprit could make use of a certain item. And what item was it exactly, Mr. Wright? Alright, this is what the culprit used to leap to the outside wall of the main building. So we're saying something was there and that they would have fallen to their death due to, I'm guessing, smooth walls. So he jumped to the wall is what we're seeing. So he wanted to jump to the main building. Outside of the main building would have been, because of the evacuation that was taking place due to the explosions, if I can get there, a ton of emergency ladders. They were lowered to the ground floor from the window of the third floor robotics lab. So it was above the third floor. It was used to evacuate Space Center personnel. I don't know if it's exactly this ladder or not, but the fact that it's fourth floor seems to be really important here. An emergency ladder. There was an emergency ladder in the fourth floor robotics lab, and it was used that day after the explosions to help evacuate people. Miss Blackwell herself used that ladder to escape down to ground level. Recall the launch pads were switched after the ladder was lowered. The corridor would have passed by the ladder while the pads were being switched. And that's when the culprit literally sprang into action. Whoa, that's a risk. That guy's insane. And leapt onto the ladder. What? Who would have imagined? Yeah, that's a bit far-fetched. And I get a leak now.
Order! Order in the court! Oh well, an alternative escape route seems to have emerged.
Which means someone other than Miss Cykes could have been the culprit, right?
Objection!
Yeah, you would. Making things up on the fly in an attempt to sway the court again, are we, Mr. Wright? Your fury has so many holes, it puts Swiss cheese to shame. Alright, then, name one. I have here detailed information about the Space Center. According to this, the distance between the museum corridor and the main building during movement is a full 20 feet. 20 feet? You're pulling my leg, right? It's not that long. In addition, the corridor is 3 floors from the ground, or roughly 50 feet. What's more, the culprit would be leaping to a precarious place. An unstable ladder. Human beings feel fear in dangerous situations. It's a basic survival instinct. An ordinary person would certainly hesitate before jumping. Or even freeze in fear and not jump at all.
Objection!
But the culprit had just murdered someone. They weren't in an ordinary state of mind.
Objection!
And nevertheless, why would they have taken that kind of risk? They could have waited for the switch to be completed and escaped to boarding lounge 2.
Objection!
Because there was a security camera in boarding lounge 2. The culprit knew they would be recorded if they left the Space Museum that way.
Objection!
In that case, the culprit could have hidden in the museum until things settled down, and then blended in with the other people after the museum was opened. That's a good point. But you claim that despite all this, the culprit took a 20-foot death-defying leap. And all in the brief moment the corridor and ladder passed by each other. That's also a good point. And they would have needed a running start while the corridor was moving to make that jump. If their timing was off, or if they couldn't jump far enough, it would have been instant death. What kind of person would attempt something like that? Stop bringing up good points, Edgeworth. No, he's leading us. Don't you understand? You'd have to be a what now to make that jump? Someone disconnected severely from general common sense and emotion? Like a psychopath? This true culprit of yours is nothing but a figment of your imagination. Why do you always have to point out every flaw? Mr. Edge was right. That does sound pretty insane. The culprit would have to be someone who feels no fear, like a stuntman. But everyone feels fear on some level. Right? Wait a minute. Aha! I've got it this time. I can prove that there is someone who could have used this alternate escape route. Oh, can you now? This proves the possibility of a person who could have used this alternative escape route. So what we're looking at here is to finally point fingers something else, aren't we? Where is it? The Phantom's psych profile. The subject's emotions rarely fluctuate and he doesn't experience feelings like normal people do.
Take that!
What's that, Mr. Wright? This is a certain person's very interesting psych profile. The subject doesn't experience feelings like normal people do. In other words, this person doesn't feel happiness, sadness, or fear. It doesn't feel fear. Yeah, Edgeworth was leading us. What? Right? No, maybe he wasn't. You can't be serious. Without the constraint of fear, he could easily do what an ordinary person wouldn't dare. Just as you or I could do a broad jump on the ground without the slightest fear, this subject could make a 20-foot leap 50 feet up in the air. He could choose this extreme way of escaping without hesitation. So you're saying that to a person without fear, the alternative route would be quicker and eliminate the chance that they'd be spotted? That's definitely pretty extreme, Mr. Wright.
But was there such a person there at the scene?
Yes. The Phantom, that mysterious shadowy figure who keeps popping up.
Oh dear!
The Phantom. Again? I knew the Phantom was there behind the scenes of the Space Center bombing, but I wasn't sure if he was connected to the murder of Clay Terran as well. However, now it's all clear. The Phantom is the one who not only bombed the Space Center, but also killed Mr. Terran. What? What?
Order in the court, order I say! Mr. Wright, please continue.
There were just too many similarities between this case and the one from 7 years ago. But why, you may ask? It could only be because both incidents were the work of the same Phantom. So then, this Phantom is the one who killed Clay. But who is he? This Phantom has been haunting this case, pulling the strings in the background. Who could this unidentified international spy be? Right, this escape route must have been a part of the Phantom's plan from the start, as was tricking Director Cosmos into switching the launch pads. The bomb on the second floor was meant to make the elevators and stairs unusable. That's why he gave advance warning and planted the bombs where he did. Yes, I think you're right. But it doesn't explain this one last thing. So I lowered my emergency ladder like the detective leading the evacuation told me to. But it was such a pain. Why couldn't they have used the ladders in the other rooms? The robotics lab wasn't the only room with an emergency ladder, but he couldn't have made that leap unless he was certain which one it would be. So you mean the Phantom must be someone who knew that particular ladder was going to be used? That's right.
Who could it be?
Wait a minute. So I lowered my emergency ladder, like the detective leading the evacuation told me to. Miss Blackwell lowered the ladder after being told to by the detective leading the... Ah! You've got to be kidding me! Did you figure it out right? Do you know who the Phantom is? Yes, I do! Who is it? Who killed Clay? Our mystery spy, known as the Phantom, is none other than... Injustice Man. After the explosions, a member of the staff crossed paths with a certain detective. I was on duty on the 4th floor. It was quite the madhouse, I tell you. As for the detective who was leading the evacuation from the 4th floor, he had a very specific objective in mind. So I lowered my emergency ladder, like the detective leading the case, or evacuation, told me to. His objective was to secure his own escape route. We lowered an emergency ladder from a 4th floor window and escaped that way. Once everyone else got out safely, I made my way down too and headed to the shelter. This is a detective you all know. He's even the lead detective on the current case. He appears to be a very emotional man, but his psych profile says he is without emotion.
Take that!
What are you saying? You mean the Phantom is...
Detective Bobby Fulbright?
Exactly. We were all taken in by his fake persona. Detective Fulbright's real identity is the Phantom.
Order! Order in the court! Mr. Wright, how could this be?
That's easy, Your Honor. Detective Fulbright was leading the 4th floor evacuation efforts. Our first clue is that he made no attempt to have any other ladder put to use. The ladder in the robotics lab is the only one he ordered to be lowered. The second is that he directed everybody to the basement shelter via this ladder. Verily, it was all a part of his plan to create an escape route. As Detective Fulbright saw to it that the ladder was lowered from the robotics lab. He went to the lounge where he killed Clay Terran and escaped into the Space Museum. The museum started moving slowly, so he waited for the right time, got a running start, and just as the corridor was passing the ladder, he leapt onto it. I don't believe it. That adult-pated detective did all that? Was it really him? I mean, all this time, I thought... Sorry, we didn't catch your name.
My name? I'm Bobby Fulbright, the heroic detective who defends our good citizens from evil. The champion of justice who comes running whenever you're in need. And my catchphrase? It's in justice we trust.
I always liked the thing. I always thought this was weird about the sentence in the first place. But I always looked at injustice we trust, and I removed the space between the in and the justice. And that always just seemed a bit too close to me. I don't know why. Injustice. Then his concern for Simon was also all just one big act.
I swore to reform Prosecutor Blackwell and make him a valued member of society again. So I can't just sit by and watch him give in to his emotions and tear the defendant apart. It was minding him. That monster killed Clay. He had me completely fooled. Come to think of it, he's the one who brought that bloodstained lighter to court too. The scumbag even made me turn on Athena. Damn it! How the hell did I fall for all that? For him to have wormed his way into the police department as well. Your Honor, the defense demands to question Detective Bobby Fulbright. Yes, I agree that we need to hear from him right away. The court will take a short recess, and then Detective Fulbright will take the stand.
And so now is everyone on side? We know he did it. Everyone knows he did it. Everyone in that courtroom knows he did it. Everyone should be on side at this point. Let's work together and take this guy down. Thank you so much, Mr. Wright. If it wasn't for everything you did, I...
Don't thank me yet. We still have an uphill battle to fight. You got it, boss.
Apollo.
Well, this is awkward. Athena, can you do me a favor?
Huh? What is it?
Could you... punch me, please?
What? Why should I do that?
Because I should have believed in you. I let the cedar down inside me get the best of me. I'm really sorry that I didn't trust... Ow! Don't be such a dope. I was really touched by what you did. Huh? Now, what are you talking about? I want to believe in Athena. I really do. What is faith without doubt? That's why I need to question her guilt. So that once the truth finally comes out, I can really, fully trust her.
You took the time and effort to genuinely think about who I am and what I'm made of. After all, how could I punch a true friend like you, Apollo?
You didn't have any trouble slapping him a second ago. Thanks, Athena. Thanks for waking me up to reality again. Guess I know who to call if I ever get sleepy in court. Looks like you have some promising young people working under you. Edgeworth. Yeah, I think they're pretty great myself. And they're not afraid to keep me in line. Anyway, I have some very good news. Aura Blackwell has surrendered and the hostages have been set free. Trucy and all the others? Oh, thank goodness! Miss Blackwell said she had something she really needed to do. So I granted her special permission to do what she must. I wonder what it is. Miss Blackwell! I didn't come to apologize, if that's what you're thinking. My actions are what allowed the truth of what happened 7 years ago to come to light. But I did come because I had something to say to all of you. Miss Aura. She better not be here to complain about something. Miss Blackwell, I want to apologize to you. The fact that you couldn't trust the court system is our fault. Yes, it's true the courts are filled with incompetent idiots. Still, I suppose I could let you handle the rest of this case for me. Oh, Miss Aura, does this mean you're starting to trust the system again? No, of course not. Be quiet, hunk of junk. It's just, I wouldn't mind if you were the ones who took Metz's killer down. Leave it to us. We'll get him. So I guess that means she's starting to trust us, at least. Aura,
Simon, I'm so glad both you and the princess were cleared of all suspicion. And it's all thanks to me and my robots. You better be grateful.
I never imagined you would go that far, though you always were extreme. But I don't recall ever requesting your help.
As close as ever, I see. Well, now that you've been released, I guess it's my turn to go live in this slammer. I just hope you're not the prosecutor for my trial. You'd probably give me the death penalty.
You know me all too well. I guess love can take on a variety of expressions, including stunted in their case. But I truly was about to be executed tomorrow. Though because of you, it looks like I won't be crossing the Styx just yet. You have my heartfelt thanks, Aura. I'm sorry I caused you so much anguish.
Simon. I'm so glad, Simon. So very glad to hear you say that.
Aura.
Alright. That's enough of that. Bailiff, take me to the detention centre. What Miss Blackwell did was inexcusable. But it's clear she did it out of love for her brother. I still can't wrap my mind around Detective Fulbright being the Phantom. I can't believe he killed Clay.
Right. And murdered my mentor, which brought great distress upon little Athena. Chief Prosecutor.
Yes?
I would ask a favor. Would you allow me to stand at the prosecutor's bench for this trial? I wish to claim the Phantom's head by my own hand.
That was my plan all along, after all.
It's highly unconventional for a man in my position to stand in court. Sir.
The formal paperwork has yet to be filled, but you are hereby conditionally released. Please take the prosecutor's bench in your official capacity, and uncover the truth by your own hand.
I'm much obliged. The day to part with these has come at last. Chief Prosecutor, could you? How long have I waited? Maybe it's the sense of freedom, but even the air seems fresher, the light brighter. And I will relish slashing that blackguard Fulbright to shreds without mercy. I don't have to be able to read his heart to see how happy he is. And also kind of happy in a little bit of vengeance is how I played that. I'd want to get my revenge.
In exactly the way he's getting it. I'm so glad, but I won't cry just yet! After all, we still got a trial to finish. It's okay to cry, Athena. I promise. Prosecutor Blackwell, Mr. Wright, please avenge Clay's death for me.
What are you talking about, Apollo? You're coming to the defense's bench with me.
I am?
Well, I can't expect Athena to assist me now, can I? She's the defendant.
That leaves you, Apollo.
But are you sure you want me?
I took a leave of absence and everything.
Well, our office is pretty short-handed, and you're all I've got. Thank you, Mr. Wright.
Apollo! Athena, I can say it with all my heart now. I believe in your complete innocence, and now we're gonna prove it to the world. Thank you, Apollo. I know you can do it.
Aura believes. Everyone believes. There's no doubt in anyone's heart.
You won't be needing that eye patch anymore, right? Right, because I'm fine now.
Apollo Justice, reborn. Now this is the Apollo I know. Welcome back, Apollo. It's almost time for the trial to restart, though it looks like you have things well in hand. Yep. I should head back to the prosecutor's office. You're not going to stay around? But why? I want to look into a few things. Namely, the first people on the scene 7 years ago, the facial data registered by the robot, and Detective Fulbright's background. Sounds great, Edgeworth. Thanks. I expect to be repaid with a victory, right? Now, if you'll excuse me. Okay, you two all set to go? You bet I am. Let's do this while I stand in the guilty party's place, weirdly. Nope, let's all go to the bench. All three of us. Team anything. This is it, the final battle. The murder of Apollo's friend. The courtroom bombing incident. And the case that ushered in the dark age of the law 7 years ago. Destiny has called us to bring the one responsible for it all to justice today. So it's into court that we step once more, I take it. On December 20th. 5:27 PM? Oh, give me the dark light. It's late in the year. I feel that we should have a dramatic atmosphere. It won't be, but still. The sunset leaking through. Let us now reconvene. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution has never been more ready. You know, this is the first time we've been at the defense bench together since I debuted. Now that you mention it. Although, back then I thought you were more loud than you were reliable. You've really come a long way since then, Apollo. You've grown a lot. Well, there have been some hiccups, but I guess I've done pretty well. He's still got that ego of his, though. Prosecutor Blackwell, will the 7-year mistake now resolved, you can finally take your rightful place. Yes, I guess we can keep the chit-chat for later. But bailiff, please bring in the witness immediately. Even with those handcuffs off, Prosecutor Blackwell seems to be pretty much the same. 7 years of grumpiness doesn't go away so easily, I guess. Here he is. Ha 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 ha! Bobby Fulbright here! I heard I was needed on the stand, so here I am! Detective Fulbright, do you know why you have been called to give testimony? Yup, because there is only one reason why I'd be called. And that is because it's time for justice. In justice we trust.
Objection!
You can't fool us with that act anymore. Your justice is nothing but lies. What? Are you questioning the integrity of my sense of justice? Would you please take that glove off for me? I mean, sure, sometimes I make mistakes, but hey. He's acting exactly the same as always. Tell me about it. He must be feeling awfully confident. Fulbright, if you wish to dispel our suspicions, then let's get your testimony. All right, fine. You want me to prove my righteousness? I can certainly do that. Well, a testimony is finally about to come. We have the Phantom, 7 years ago, an international spy in front of us. But what more will we claim from this case? What more will we learn as we take him to pieces? Justice will be served, and definitely of not the injustice kind. Maybe next time on Phoenix Wright, Dual Destinies. I'll see you guys there. Bye-bye.